How to improve fluency. Here is some helpful tips for you. 1. Practice speaking regularly. Speak daily. To truly improve fluency, speaking English every day is key. Try incorporating English into your daily routine by engaging in conversations with friends, family, or online language partners. Even if you don't have someone to practice with, try speaking to yourself about your day or things around you. The more you speak, the more natural the language will feel. Language exchange. Engage with native English speakers through language exchange apps like Tandem or HelloTalk, where you can converse with people who are also learning your language. This gives you real-time practice and helps you learn how people actually speak, not just textbook phrases. Imitate native speakers. Another effective way to improve fluency is by imitating native speakers. Watch videos, movies, or listen to podcasts and try to repeat what you hear. Focus on their pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. This helps you sound more natural and fluent over time. 2. Think in English, thinking directly in English. Start by practicing small steps, like describing what you're doing at the moment, planning your day, or making shopping lists in your head in English. Over time, this practice can eliminate the need to mentally translate from your native language, which can slow down fluency. Describing the world around you. While you're commuting, walking, or even cooking, try describing what you see, hear, or do in English. This will train your brain to process information in English, making it easier to recall words when you're speaking. 3. Expand your vocabulary. Contextual learning. Instead of memorizing random vocabulary lists, learn words in context by reading stories, news articles, or listening to podcasts. Understanding how words fit within sentences helps you use them correctly. Learn synonyms and phrases. Increase your flexibility in conversations by learning synonyms and common phrases. When you have more ways to express the same idea, you can avoid feeling stuck when you can't think of a particular word. For example, instead of just knowing happy, also learn words like joyful, content, or pleased. Use flashcards or apps. Use tools like Anki or Quizlet to expand your vocabulary. These apps allow you to create flashcards that test your recall, helping reinforce new words and phrases. 4. Listen to English. Every day, podcasts and audiobooks. Listen to English podcasts or audiobooks related to topics you enjoy. Focus on understanding the flow of language, sentence structure, and vocabulary. Start with podcasts designed for English learners, then gradually move on to native-level content. Active listening. Engage in active listening by focusing on the speaker's words, tone, and phrasing. Take notes or pause and repeat after the speaker. Try shadowing, which involves mimicking the speaker right after they say something. This will help with both pronunciation and fluency. 5. Read aloud. Choose suitable texts. Reading aloud not only improves pronunciation, but also familiarizes you with the flow of natural sentences. Start with simpler texts, like graded readers or short stories, and gradually move to more complex material. Shadow reading. Another great technique is to shadow read. Listen to an audiobook while following the text and try to read along with the narrator. This method helps sync your reading and speaking rhythm. Sixth, record yourself. Self-assessment. Recording yourself speaking is a great way to assess your fluency, pronunciation, and sentence construction. Record short speeches or dialogues and listen back to identify areas where you might be hesitating or making mistakes. Track progress. Regularly recording your progress helps you notice improvements and identify persistent challenges. It also gives you a chance to compare your fluency over time. 7. Use English in real-life situations. Daily life practice. Integrate English into your daily activities. If you are at a restaurant, try ordering in English, or use English when interacting with tourists or during travel. Practicing in real-life situations helps you learn how to adapt quickly and become more fluent. Practice with friends or family. If possible, practice English with friends or family members who speak the language. Even small interactions can help build confidence. 8. Watch with subtitles. Subtitled movies and shows. Watching English movies or TV shows with subtitles in English helps connect spoken words with their written forms. This reinforces both listening and reading skills. You can start by watching with subtitles and, over time, challenge yourself by turning them off. Gradual progression. Begin with content that uses simpler language, such as children's shows or beginner English YouTube channels. Gradually move to more advanced series as your listening comprehension improves. 9. Focus on communication, not perfection. Don't fear mistakes. Fluency doesn't mean speaking without errors. Instead of focusing on being grammatically perfect, focus on being understood. The more you speak, the more naturally correct your speech will become over time. Communicate ideas. Practice speaking in such a way that you convey your ideas clearly, even if you don't use the perfect word or structure. If you forget a word, explain it, or use a synonym instead of stopping or switching to your native language. 10. Practice with tongue twisters and pronunciation exercises. Tongue twisters. These fun exercises help improve your ability to speak quickly and clearly. Start with simple ones like, "She sells seashells by the seashore," and gradually work your way up to more difficult ones. Pronunciation tools. Use pronunciation tools, apps, or videos to practice difficult sounds in English. Correct pronunciation is an essential part of fluency, as it ensures others can understand you clearly. 11. Learn common sentence structures. Master basic structures. Learn how to construct common types of sentences, such as asking questions, giving instructions, or making statements. Knowing these structures will allow you to respond quickly and naturally in conversations. Practice sentence. Combining. Practice combining sentences to express more complex ideas. For example, instead of saying, "I like reading," "I like cooking," you can say, "I enjoy reading and cooking." This helps you sound more fluent. 12. Join conversation clubs or classes language clubs. Participate in conversation clubs where you can practice speaking English in a relaxed environment. These clubs often focus on real-life topics, helping you build practical speaking skills. Speaking classes. If available, attend fluency-focused English classes or join online platforms like italki or Preply to have one-on-one practice with native speakers or language tutors. These sessions offer personalized feedback, which can accelerate your progress. 13. Stay consistent and be patient. Regular practice. Fluency comes with regular practice. Set aside time each day for speaking, listening, or reading in English. Even 15 to 30 minutes daily can lead to significant improvements. Set realistic goals. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. Set achievable milestones, like being able to hold a 5-minute conversation, then gradually increase the complexity and duration of your speaking practice. By incorporating these expanded techniques, you'll build both confidence and fluency in English, making communication more effortless over time. Here are more tips to help you improve storytelling in English and become a better storyteller. 1. Choose stories that interest you. The more engaged you are with the content, the more natural your storytelling will be. Whether it's a short story, fable, or personal experience, pick topics that excite you. Enthusiasm is key to captivating your audience. 2. Start with simple stories. When you're learning, start with short and simple stories that have a clear beginning, middle, and end. For example, fairy tales, folk stories, or graded readers. These will help you understand basic story structure and build confidence. 3. Use visual aids and gestures. When telling a story, use gestures, facial expressions, and visual aids, like props or drawings, to make the story more engaging. This also helps you rely less on words and more on storytelling techniques that transcend language barriers. 4. Build your vocabulary. Gradually. As you improve, gradually increase your vocabulary to include more descriptive words. Learn new words that add detail to your stories, adjectives, adverbs, and transition words to paint a vivid picture in your audience's mind. Example: instead of "the dog ran," you can say, "the excited dog sprinted across the park." 5. Practice retelling stories. After reading or hearing a story, practice retelling it in your own words. This helps you reinforce key vocabulary and sentence structures while improving your ability to recall and narrate events fluently. 6. Use the 5 ways to structure your story. To create a clear narrative, structure your story by answering the 5 ways. Who is the story about? What happened? When did it take place? Where did it happen? Why is it important? This will give your story a logical flow and ensure you include all the necessary details. 7. Focus on emotion. Stories are more engaging when they evoke emotions. Use words and tone to express joy, fear, excitement, or sadness. Connecting emotionally with your audience makes your story more memorable. Example: her heart pounded as she opened the mysterious letter. 8. Use dialogue to bring your story to life. Adding dialogue helps make your story more interactive and engaging. It allows you to show character interactions and can also improve your speaking skills as you switch between different voices or tones. Example: instead of saying, "He was angry," you can use dialogue like, "How could you do this to me?" he shouted. 9. Use transitions to keep the story flowing. Use transition words and phrases to keep the story moving smoothly. Words like then, suddenly, after that, meanwhile, or in the end help guide your audience through the story and make it easier to follow. 10. Use pauses effectively. Pausing at key moments can add suspense and emphasis. It allows your audience to absorb important parts of the story and heightens emotional impact. Don't rush. Take your time to deliver each part of the narrative clearly. 11th. Practice timing. Good storytelling involves pacing. Don't go too fast or too slow. Practice telling your story within a set time frame, e.g., 3 to 5 minutes, so it feels well-rounded and you don't lose your audience's interest. 12. Focus on pronunciation and intonation. Clear pronunciation and varied intonation help your audience understand you better. Practice emphasizing key words and phrases, and avoid speaking in a monotone voice. Raising your voice for excitement or lowering it for suspense adds a dynamic feel to your story. 13. Create a mental image. Before telling your story, visualize the scenes in your mind. This will help you describe settings, characters, and events more clearly to your audience. For instance, imagine the colors, sounds, and actions that make the story more vivid. 14. Incorporate cultural references or morals. Including cultural elements or morals adds depth to your stories and can make them more relatable, especially if your audience is from the same cultural background. For example, you can add, "This reminds me of the saying, 'Slow and steady wins the race.'" 15. Engage your audience. Ask questions or invite your listeners to predict what will happen next. This keeps them involved and actively thinking about the story. You can use prompts like, "What do you think happens next?" or "Can you imagine what they did after that?" 16. Personalize your stories. Share personal experiences or adapt stories to reflect your life. Personal stories often resonate more with the audience and can be more impactful because they come from a place of authenticity. 17. Repetition for emphasis. Repeating key words or phrases can help emphasize important parts of your story and make it easier to remember. This technique is especially effective in oral storytelling traditions. 18. Analyze other storytellers. Watch or listen to great storytellers, whether in movies, TED Talks, or even on YouTube. Pay attention to how they build tension, use humor, and create relatable characters. Try to incorporate some of their techniques into your own storytelling. 19. Use the rule of 3. The rule of 3 is a common storytelling technique. Events, characters, or ideas are grouped in threes to make them more memorable and impactful. For example, 3 Little Pigs, or Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. 20. Simplify complex ideas. If you're telling a story with complex ideas or events, Simplify them so they're easy to follow. Use clear language and avoid overcomplicating the plot or characters. This is particularly important for English learners who may struggle with too much complexity. 21st, experiment with different genres. Don't limit yourself to just one type of story. Explore different genres like adventure, mystery, romance, or comedy. Experimenting with different genres can improve your creativity and ability to adjust your tone and style based on the story. 22. Create character backstories. When telling a longer or more detailed story, give your characters distinct backgrounds, motivations, and personalities. This makes the story feel more real and engaging. For example, you might describe why the hero is on a quest or what challenges they've faced before the story begins. 23rd, end with a strong conclusion. A good story should have a satisfying ending. Whether it's a moral, a twist, or a resolution to a problem, make sure your conclusion ties the story together and leaves a lasting impression on your audience. 24. Join a storytelling group or workshop. Find a storytelling group or workshop where you can practice in front of others and get feedback. This will help you refine your skills and gain confidence in telling stories in a supportive environment. By applying these additional storytelling tips, you'll improve your ability to tell engaging, memorable stories while also enhancing your overall fluency in English. Keep practicing, experimenting, and refining your approach.